Alright, watching this show called Dear Child is 6 episodes. Let's just jump right into episode 1. So you got this family chilling in the house, right? One's named Lena, who happens to be the mom. The two children are named Hannah and Jonathan. The dad comes in, checking their hands automatically because they gotta hold their hands in front and then flip sideways. Now, why do they do that? He's checking to make sure nobody has any weapons in their hand, anything they could harm themselves with. You're like, what the fuck? It's kind of crazy to do that to the kids and the mom, right? But the mom's got this mark on her hand. She's shaking. You're thinking to yourself, like, where does this mark come from? Looks like a circle of dried up blood or something. Now, right at the back, Hannah's pretty smart, you know what I'm saying? You gotta watch the show to understand why. Next thing we know, later on, Lena is running out in a nightgown. She's just like bawling, going through the woods and whatnot. She tries to slow down the car, but I guess she ends up getting hit by the damn car. I'm like, what the fuck? Here's the wild thing. She gets picked up by the ambulance, and Hannah's with her in the ambulance. You're like, maybe she's the one that called it? Who knows? You're probably thinking to yourself, she's the only one going with the hospital. Where's Dad and where's Jonathan at? Explain that in a minute. She tells the medical team that her mom has an AB blood type, which is very rare apparently. And then they go to the surgical room to work on her. Hannah's just in there chilling, studying in the hospital. Then she ends up talking to this nurse by the name of Ruth. She has her sit in this little quiet room or whatever like that. And then she starts talking to the nurse. She tells about how her mom Lena's real clumsy. And then she tells her that she wanted to kill her dad. I'm like, what? So at this point, the nurse is trying to slowly get some information out of her. Then we got this one guy that's looking up a paper or whatever like that. And he calls up this couple by the name of Matthew and Karen. And he's telling them descriptions and stuff leading to the possibility that it could be Lena. So apparently Matthew and Karen are Lena's parents, and apparently she's been missing for 13 years. What? The guy that called them up was apparently a detective on the case when that was happening. Now they found out what hospital she's in, they go into the hospital. Hannah started talking more to the nurse. Now she was saying something about they got a built-in ventilation system and whatnot at the house. But the one thing she wouldn't tell me is exactly where they live. And every now and then Dad would beat on Lena from time to time, whatever like that, right? So you're probably thinking to yourself, Dad was the one that tried to run over Lena, right? Hold that thought. Hannah starts talking about John being scared and all this other stuff. Then we get this flashback to John because she had said something about him always cleaning up blood. So they show him cleaning up blood and we look off into the corner and we see the dad laid out. So we're not even sure if he's done dead as shit or not. So now we got this chick named Ada on the case, right? She's supposed to be a high-ranking detective in the area. Her and the psychologist went to talk to Hannah. Hannah was giving certain information, but not a whole lot of it. At one point, Hannah looked outside to see the circulation vents. And that's what made her think about the vents in her house. Now the officer's asking them questions, and she asks us about Mrs. Tinky. So Ada's like, who's Mrs. Tinky? She's like, my cat. As far as I can tell, I ain't seen no damn cat in the whole episode, but anyway. When she started to ask Hannah about the cat, Hannah just put her head down and fell asleep. So outside the room, the psychiatrist is like, look, man, you don't want to push the issue with somebody like this, you know what I'm saying? So they said she'll probably be at the hospital for a day, obviously waiting on Lena, right? One of the officers looking around the forest thinking that she saw something, but she ain't seen nothing. And I'm like, what did she take it off for? Anyway, the parents make it to the bedside and they see Lena, and then all of a sudden, Matt is looking like, he's like, that's not Lena. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Now I'm thinking he's in a state of shock because he sees how badly she's beaten up, whatever like that. She's got this red circle of blood on her hand for some reason. Now Hannah was saying something about head trauma, because I'm guessing she probably did something to the dad. Because they showed Jonathan cleaning up blood, he was cleaning about the carpet. But then they showed the dad on the other side of the room, so I'm like, well anyway, Ada and the other officer tries to calm down Matthew or whatever now. And then Hannah's walking with this nurse. Matthew's down on his knees looking for a hug. Karen's looking at Hannah. They're both looking at Hannah and they call her Lena. I'm like, what? But Hannah stands behind the nurse, don't want nothing to do with them, and they walk off while they try to control them. I was like, what the fuck? And then it ends with this monologue that Lena is talking in her head while she's still unconscious in the bed. Talking about she can hear everything and shit. So now there's plenty of mystery set in this one. Is Hannah really Lena? Did the father actually kidnap these people? Because they said Lena was missing for like 13 years. And now that I think about it, Hannah said she was around the ages of between 10 and 12, right? There's no way they could be referring to Hannah because they said that she was missing for 13 years. What? Why were John and Lena scared of the dad in the first place? Hannah seemed fine with him. There was so much thrown at me in the first episode. Dear Child on Netflix. Check it out.